Just want to say glory to God,
Glory to God.
Just thought we should start there. I mean, yeah, we got to start it with glory to God. So, I'm just advising the whole audience ahead of time that they're barely going to be able to see me, but it's okay. Oh, your mic. My fault. I forgot about you, bro.
Wait, Frank, can you do me a favor? Can you get just a few behind the scenes clips throughout the podcast? Like on my phone? I don't mind. Keep my phone. But just throughout, random moments.
And then don't forget
Thank you so much.
the digital camera, bro. I handed you the mic right there. Yeah. Huh? I don't know. You had it. Hi, everyone. Oh, yeah, we started.
Just literally, yeah, literally. I just like content.
Tariah.
Oh, wait, you're starting right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Tariah Hyland.
Okay, wait.
Senior. I felt like we should. Usually I don't do intros, but I felt like this one, it deserves an intro.
Okay.
So, senior political science major, legal communications minor, internship at United Way of Delaware, campaign intern for Lisa Blunt Rochester, internship at Emerson Collective, internship at Results for America, internship at the White House for the vice president. In high school, you helped pass the legislation called HB 198, which we'll get into. You were a salutatorian. You were awarded the John Lewis Youth Leadership Award, AT&T Rising Future Maker, Target Scholar, president of HU Black Girls Vote, Houston Vice President, co-founder of the HBCU Source Scholarship with Jameer. You spoke at the first Delaware Black Student Summit, keynote speaker at the National Alliance for Partnerships and Equity Summit on harnessing the power of voice, a leader, an activist, and a daughter of the Lord. How'd I do?
You did great.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I want to know, 21, right? Mm-hmm. How does that feel to have someone read off a list that long?
It's literally insane, honestly. But while you were reading it, I just was having so much gratitude for the Lord, honestly.
Yeah.
And so it's dope that you ended it with daughter of the Lord.
Yeah.
Because honestly, before anything, that's the only accomplishment, that's the only title that means anything to me. And I know that none of it would matter if it weren't for it.
Of course.
It's surreal, but it also just a beautiful reminder of the Lord's goodness in my life and His love and ultimately His favor in my life. So it's very surreal. It's just there's no way I did all of that, but then there's no way God loves me this much to provide me with all of these crazy opportunities.
Shout out to God.
Yeah, no, honestly. It's just there's no way.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Okay. So we're going to start all the way back. We're going to go back to middle school.
Okay.
We're going to go back to Lewis L. Redding Middle School.
Okay.
Yeah, a little something. So I find it fitting that Lewis L. Redding being an activist himself. Mm-hmm. I know he was the first African American to be passed through the Delaware Bar. Mm. Do you have any significant moments from that early on in your life?
Honestly, it's actually very ironic because at that middle school, I was kind of finding my voice because even before middle school, growing up, I was very quiet, very shy person, did not really have any true sense of self-worth, any true sense of value. And growing up, I was always kind of the only Black girl, one of few Black girl in the classes that I was in or the spaces that I was in. And so I just was very, very quiet. I was very shy. But then when I got to middle school, I started to come out of my shell a little bit more. But that was also very predominantly white school. And that's when I was called the N-word with a hard ER for the first time. Okay. And then I was in middle school during the time that Trump and Hillary Clinton were running against each other. And so that was just a very divided time in my middle school where people would be running through the hallways, waving MAGA flags, I remember vividly the night after or the day after he won or the results were called, and just that feeling of true gut-wrenching feeling of going back into that school and knowing the type of students that were in the school and the experiences that I was facing. So yes, the school in itself is named after a very notable person in Black history, but for me, like that school wasn't necessarily like a point in time where I think, oh, like I really was even closer to like my Blackness, because ultimately like it made me feel even more ostracized and isolated in my identity as like a Black girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I know that school is in Middleton, right?
Middletown, yeah.
Middletown. Okay. And so is
St. George's.
yeah, St. George's is in Middletown as well. But you are from Wilmington. Okay. Can you explain the differences in those two cities and just like Delaware in general?
Yeah, so Middletown is like more of like a rural suburb type situation. It's like in the middle between like a city and a suburb and like the country. It's like the perfect middle ground. And honestly, to this day, like Middletown, they're really like developing it a lot. So like it looks completely different even than it looked when I was in middle school, because they're just really like developing it so much. But it typically is like a rural area, but more urban than most rural areas. But Wilmington is like a very urban city, predominantly Black city. And it's, you know, typically like very low income areas across, like compared to other areas in the state of Delaware. And so me having that experience of like coming back home into Wilmington, but then commuting to Middletown every day for school, it was like a very stark contrast in like my experiences and just what I would see like just based on crossing the highway or like commuting across the highway as well. It was just like very different experiences. But my mom always believed like kind of choicing us outside of schools or putting us in situations outside of where we came from were the better opportunities, which in some cases can be a harmful like ideology or mindset, but that's what she believed was like the best option for like myself and for my brothers. And so she did that. But as a result of it, yes, we may have received like good education, but the experiences that I experience, I'm sure I wouldn't have experienced if I was in like a space in Wilmington or somewhere where it was more diverse.
Of course, like or your people,
right?
I guess,
Exactly.
in general. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. So I'm guessing in Wilmington, the schools there are a little rougher, or I guess in the area that you grew up in. Is that a safe assumption?
Yeah, but then it's also interesting because in Wilmington, you'll realize that like a lot of the students in Wilmington, the feeder schools are schools outside of the city as well. And so it's like all the Wilmington kids go to these certain schools, but they're like not in Wilmington. So that's also like a very interesting dynamic that I haven't like delved that deep into. But like, yeah, so I guess the feeder schools that I would have gone to weren't necessarily like the option or like the better option compared to like where I ended up going. Okay. Yeah.
Now I had mentioned the HB 198. You want to kind of, you know, explain that a little bit?
Yeah. So it is a bill that passed through Delaware State Legislature. Okay. And so it was passed in 2021. But the process was throughout like 2020, and honestly, the bill was inspired by like a lot of the racial uproar that was happening like around the country. And so what the bill is, it's a mandate in Black studies through the state of Delaware in K-12 curriculum in public schools. And so it literally ensures that like schools in Delaware are like having that diversity in the curriculum for like the students that are part of the schools. And so I got hit up one day by a state legislature by the name of she's Representative Sherry Dorsey Walker. She's actually my district representative in Wilmington, but she didn't know that at the time. But she reached out because I was doing like a lot with advocacy and doing a lot throughout the state with like advocating for students, especially Black students. And she knew that I had those experiences just based on like word of mouth. And so we were connected, and she reached out and let me know that she was sponsoring this bill, ultimately like the one that was like proposing the bill and creating it, or whatever the case may be, and that she wanted more student engagement with the process of the bill. And so she asked me and then one of my other friends, someone who eventually became a friend, but we didn't know each other. She asked him and then I to like be experts with the bill. And so we were literally like student experts on the bill. We were on the calls with lawyers, policy writers, talking about what needed to be included in the bill with leaders from the Department of Education. And then when the bill had to get voted out of the committee, we also were like literally there on like the panel of people that were answering questions from these Republican legislators, other Democratic legislators, and answering those questions. And then ultimately the bill got voted on, it was passed, and now it's like fully enacted in Delaware.
Okay. Now I had a question because I read up on it. My question is, so of course it pushes Black history being like a part of a curriculum, right?
Yeah.
Now my question is, how do you know that it's going to be taught the right way, right? Because it can be taught and forced into the curriculum, but that doesn't mean that it could be interpreted in its purest form.
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
You know, honestly, like that's the toughest part about it, because you really don't know.
Okay.
And so with the bill, something that we tried to do was get very, very, very specific with like what needs to be included in the curriculum.
Okay.
But there's no way to like really ensure that it's being taught the right way based on like the people that are teaching it. And so honestly, you really just hope and pray.
Yeah.
Honestly, you really just hope and pray. But I think that like they did try to do, or we tried to do our part with like making the bill as like specific as possible, down to like the individuals to include in the curriculum and the different topics to include, to really like make sure that like at least, you know, we know that y'all have to hit on these different topics. So that was something that we tried to like do to ensure that. But like the toughest part about it is you really don't know, especially in schools that already don't want to be doing it. So they're just going to hand it to anybody. It's just like, you really don't know like who's going to, you know, teach what or how they're going to teach it. But at least there's comfort in the fact that like we try to get as like specific.
It'll be taught either way, right? Some way it'll be taught. They can't mess up everything. Right. You know? Like, there's certain dates in certain places you can't.
Exactly.
Okay, got you. I'm actually going to pick this back up.
Okay.
I need to look at some of this. I don't have like a notebook. I wasn't trying to like club shay it and just have a bunch of cards. That was no shot to you. Actually, it was. I'm sorry. So your speech for when you became Houston Vice President, there was a quote you said in there. You said, "So much power in falling because it teaches you how to get back up."
Yeah.
I know in high school you went through a couple traumatic events, right? You had the house fire that killed. This is your parental grandmother, right?
My dad's mom.
Okay, and your nephew. Okay, and then 6 months after that, that was your mom's mom that passed away.
Yeah.
How hard was that, especially during a very, I want to say, fragile time where you're trying to figure out where you're about to go as you leave the high school space?
Yeah.
And what did you learn about yourself during that time?
Yeah. Whew, that was like one of the hardest times of my life. Starting with the fire, like I think even the fire in itself gave me a lot of perspective on life. Just not only obviously like seeing how life can literally flip upside down in a matter of an hour, because I was literally at the house the day of the fire. I was, you know, spending time with my family, and then remember the day like it was yesterday. Myself, my aunt, and then my cousin, we had left the house to go watch a March Madness game because one of our family friends were playing. And so we were watching the basketball game, and then we just got the call, and we're like, what?
Yeah.
And so to even think like if that would have happened that night, or like it could be a completely different story. But like, so that in itself like kind of changed my entire perspective on life. And then just seeing how like quickly like life can literally flip upside down. And then 6 months later, to then literally watch my mom's mom pass away, like from having so much life to then not, ultimately she passed away. But even with that, I was very close to both my grandmothers. And my mom's mom, I was spending the summer, I spent like a lot of my summers with her, and I was with her like the day that she fell, and then we like rushed her to the hospital, and they're like, yeah, she has a brain tumor. But then at the time, they still didn't know like if it was cancerous or not. So then we did the test, and then they're like, yeah, it's cancerous, and it's actually stage 4 brain cancer. And so she literally died 6 weeks later. So to see in both scenarios how like quickly like you can lose your life, it changed my perspective. And granted, like I went through a very deep depression after it, but at that point in my life, it showed me how much value there was in life. But then, like I said in the speech, it really taught me like how to get back up as a better version of myself, because I reached one of the darkest points of my life. It got really dark ultimately. But I couldn't stay there. Like, honestly, there was no other option but to get back up. But as a result of like those really hard experiences, it taught me how to get back up. So how to ask for help, how to be stronger after experiencing things of that sort, and then also just like how to really lean on your community and like show up as a better version of yourself, despite what you may have or may have not experienced. But that, I don't wish that on my worst enemy. Like, it was insane. An insane time period.
And I know you wrote how you eventually learned how to value your mental health. Do you think that people are able to fully understand how to value your mental health without going through traumatic experiences, or is that just, do they work hand in hand? Because it seems like, because I could speak to times of my own life where I feel like, again, through traumatic experiences, I've learned to value my own mental health as well. It's like, it sucks. That's what it is.
But like low key, like I don't know if I would appreciate my joy how I do now if it weren't for knowing what it looks like to literally not want to be alive. Like, I've reached points where it was just like, why am I waking up? Like, I don't want to be here. I've struggled with like suicidal ideations and even attempts. And so it's just like being in that place, it's like I have no choice but to appreciate and have so much gratitude for the joy and even just like the mental sanity that I have now. Because there were moments where I'm like, I'm literally losing my mind. And so I don't think I would appreciate my mental health the way I appreciate it now if it weren't for me knowing what it looks like to get to that dark of a space. Like to a point where it's like, how am I going to get out of it? Like, you don't even see the light. You can't even fathom the idea of light at the end of the tunnel because it's just so dark. So for me, I don't think I would like appreciate it how I do, but I'm sure there's probably people that are just like, I've seen how dark it can get from other people, else. So I'm not trying to get there. But for me, like, I just really don't think like I would appreciate it how I do, but I do now because I see, how
and that's all that matters. Like, you made it out.
Not trying to
Glory be to God.
Right.
Okay. So, when did the fires happen?
So the fire happened.
Like, what year of school were you in?
It was 2018. So I was a freshman. Yeah. I was a freshman.
So the beginning of high school.
I was a freshman.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yep. I was a freshman, and then, so it's crazy because, so I mixed up things. So my grandmother passed away from cancer first in 2017. And then the fire, so she passed away October 2017, and then the fire happened March 2018.
Okay. So at that time, you're not really thinking of college yet, I'm guessing then.
No, I was always thinking of college.
You were always thinking of college.
My only option. Like, I don't have any other talents. I'm not athletic, so I was never like, oh, like, I'm going to go to the league or anything like that. Like, it was always college. And actually, I wanted to be a doctor, so I had to go to college. So my goal was to always go to college. And I was always super ambitious. So I already knew, like, at that point, I thought I wanted to go to Ivy League. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to Ivy League and this and that. But so
I say that to say, I was going to ask, when exactly does Howard get into the picture?
So honestly, it wasn't until my junior year of high school. And it was like towards the end of my junior year of high school. When I started to like really experience and like really just get upset with like the racism that I was experiencing and just the overall racial experiences of Black people in America. And I think a big influence was like really like the high-end protest era of the United States. It's when George Floyd was murdered, Breonna Taylor was murdered. And so I was just like getting so angry, and I was like really engaged in activism, and it kind of like was the start of like my activism. And it was also a time that V.P. Harris was running for vice president of the United States. And so it was all this talk about Howard, it was all this talk about HBCUs, and then I was also just getting really frustrated with the Black experience in America. So I was like, I think I want to go to an HBCU. And then when I realized that I wanted to go to HBCU, I'm like, well, everybody's talking about Howard, so let me look into Howard. And then I just decided that I didn't want to be a doctor anymore. And I was like, I actually want to go down the political route and activism route. And so I was like, what better place to be than DC and then be at like a top HBCU, the number one HBCU in my opinion.
By far.
You know, by far.
By far.
And
Maybe Spelman, but that's because they're like all girls, you know. Y'all are a little bit more intelligent, just a little bit though.
Maybe slightly.
Just a
maybe
smidge.
slightly.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
I don't know. But yeah, so I was like, I want to go to a top HBCU. DC is a good spot to be for a political career. And I'm not going to lie, I just impulsively decided to make Howard my dream school and to apply as a political science major. And then I just became like really obsessed with Howard.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of where it came into play.
Now, was it everything that you imagined as soon as you stepped on campus?
Yes. And I say that because like, I don't know if I really like had in mind what to imagine. Like I knew that Howard was a great place to be. But then again, you got to think like, it was also during the pandemic, so I was not, and I also like did not know anyone that went to Howard.
Okay.
Like I didn't have like the person that could just bring me onto campus.
So you didn't know Jameer prior to?
I did.
You did.
So in Delaware is like obviously a very small state. So it's like if you see another ambitious person in Delaware, especially like coming from Wilmington, it's like you just get together. And so obviously I was doing like all my activism, and then Jameer, he did a really dope project in Delaware with our teen warehouse. It's like a teen youth center in Delaware, and he actually was like one of the co-founders of it. And so we kind of just naturally connected by just being in the same spaces together. And then we both realized that like Howard was our dream school. So then we just like really bonded over wanting to go to Howard. And like we were the only two that like we were familiar with that like were planning to go to Howard. And so we just really got close, stuck together through every step of our application process, like was locked in with one another. And then from there we just got super close. But throughout high school, I didn't always know Jameer. We were familiar with one another, but we got super close my junior year. And then from there we just like have been inseparable.
So she did know someone coming to Howard.
I mean, yeah.
Lied on camera. I just thought we'd clear that up. Fact check.
No, I mean, like, I didn't know, like, any upperclassmen. Like, to, like, really put me on.
And you're going into new experience with
together.
someone,
And, like, he's first generation, so we really were just, like, clueless. Like, we even came up here, and obviously, like, it was nobody on campus, so we just was doing stuff. So it's like, I didn't really know what to expect. I knew that it was going to be a dope experience. I knew that Howard would really, like, propel my career forward. But, like, true expectations, like, I was whatever. So I think it has been, like, what I expected. And then it has even exceeded, like, the little expectations that I did have.
So as seemed like a very ambitious high school graduate, going into a space that is full of ambition and full of opportunity, full of just everything. I mean, there's just a lot going on here. How did that either help or hinder you, or both, when you first came into campus?
Well, that's actually a really good question.
I appreciate that.
Come on. Okay, so like, I think it hindered me, honestly, initially, because anybody that knew me in high school that was close to me would tell you, like, I just had this crazy fear of high school being my peak. I would just always say, like, high school cannot be my peak. And so coming into Howard, I'm like, high school cannot be my peak. And so I, like, set these, honestly, almost unreal expectations for myself as a freshman coming into Howard. And obviously, I wasn't able to necessarily meet all those expectations in the ways that I expected myself to. Not that I wasn't capable of doing it, it just was like, everything doesn't happen like you perfectly plan for it to happen. And so I came into Howard, and my freshman year, I was like, okay, I want to be freshman class council president. First thing I did coming into Howard, I ran and made it to a runoff and then lost. And I was like, what do you mean? The first thing I do at Howard and I lose? Like, I didn't know what that really meant for real, because obviously, like, I was the black girl in high school. It was so easy for me to, like, stand out. It was so easy. And I get here and everybody's black. Everyone was the president, valedictorian. Like, everybody founded the Black Union. So it was like, okay, and so I thought that would, like, be enough, and in one way or another, like, it is, but, like, this is the kind of space where you have to bring more and you have to be unique in the things that you do. For sure. And so I lost, and I was, like, sad, and I was even considering transferring. 'Cause I'm like, okay, maybe Howard.
For a loss? Hey, that's crazy.
And little did I know, like, that was only going to be the first of many losses that I took at Howard. But like, yeah, rejection builds character.
Yeah.
I always say rejection builds character because while like that loss hurt and was very painful, and it took me a while to get over it, I learned how to get back up. Yeah. And it really built my character so that the next time that I lost, I didn't hurt the same way that I hurt the first time because I knew how to like really channel those losses into wins, honestly, and learn from them now. So when I get a rejection now from an internship, from whatever the case may be, I'm just like, okay, like it wasn't for me. But like there was a version of myself that would crash out. Like crash out. It's like, girl, you good? Yeah. Like, what's going on? Yeah. But now I'm just like, whatever. Like, I don't care.
Okay. Now, I mean, you say a loss, but as I'm reading that list, it seems like a lot of wins, even here. And again, being now the HUSA vice president, I'm sure the losses make the wins that much greater.
Yeah, absolutely.
But have you learned to appreciate the losses?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, I do, honestly. And sometimes I feel like my mom, she always jokes like, girl, like you always talking about like, you know, these experiences, but not like as a negative thing. She's like, okay, like what about the positives though? And I think both are important and both work. Because for me, like I have so much gratitude for like the things that like didn't always work out for me or the things that hurt like for me to not get, because it's like, it built my character, honestly, and helped me to, like you said, appreciate the wins so much more. Yeah. And so, yeah, I do think it helps me to, like, appreciate the wins. Because it's just, like, you understand, like, what it means, like, to have to really work for something. Yeah. So I'm grateful that not everything was handed to me because naturally I'm ambitious, but I do think I work a little bit harder. Okay. Now. Yeah. Now, I want to say it was 2023, you got the John Lewis Youth Award, right? Another civil rights activist. I mean, that's gonna be your life now, obviously. But what did that mean to you getting that award? It was really special, honestly, and something that I'm like trying to be like very.
Don't mean to interrupt you. Could you explain to everyone what the award is first before we just start talking about it? Yeah.
So the John Lewis Youth Leadership Award is actually like a national award, but each state has their own recipient. And so I was the Delaware recipient for the John Lewis Youth Leadership Award. Thank you. And so it's an award that's sponsored by the Secretary of State. And so they're the ones in each state that kind of select the winner. And so the Delaware Secretary of State selected me for the award. And it basically recognizes individuals in the state that like are leading and especially as it relates to activism and that like are really just showing the character of John Lewis and the legacy that he had in his work, and obviously not the same, but still like showing that spirit of activism and that passion for unity and really just bringing communities together. And so it really acknowledges young people that are doing that in various spaces. And so I was acknowledged for doing it based on my work with House Bill 198 and then just like my leadership on campus as well. Okay.
Now, what was the question I had asked you prior to?
What did it mean? Yeah. Okay. Wait, should I like?
I don't know.
Restart?
This is where you I don't know, you make it yours, you know, this is your dialogue. I'm going to take whatever you say and I'm going to clip it and I'm just going to hope it goes viral. So you just help us go viral right now.
Lock in.
Please.
I'm sorry.
Okay. You said, what did it mean to me or something like that. So yes, that's the award. But getting that award at that time showed me like, okay, it actually does like pay off. Because that actually was coming from a season where like a very dry season. I could be very churchy. But it was coming from like a very dry season for me, not only spiritually, but also just professionally. Like I wasn't doing any speaking engagements for real. I wasn't like getting many awards. I wasn't really doing a lot of like attention-worthy things, I guess. And so that award came at a time where I was like, okay, like what is going on? And obviously I was starting to like question like a lot of things. And then I randomly get nominated for the award because you have to get nominated for it. So I randomly got nominated for it and then I eventually was selected for it. And so that was just like, wow, like God, like this is really special that you kind of continually remind me that like you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Like just keep going, keep trusting me, keep following me. And I think again, like every accomplishment that I have has just been a beautiful reminder of like the Lord's love, and also just like just like his love and how
Yeah.
he continually considers me in everything that he does for me, because it's like so divine, the timing that I received the award. And then it was just like really special to know that like, wow, like maybe this is all for something, and not to say that like you do it for the recognition, but sometimes it's nice to be reminded that like you're on the right track.
Because there's those days where it's like hard to want to do it,
no,
but
exactly.
the recognition will always keep you going.
No, literally. But then again, I think on the other end of things, I do have to constantly remind myself to not get so caught up in it, because I do think something that one of my friends said that like has just always stuck with me. He was like also in a very like slow season professionally for himself, and he was just like, "This is the Lord preserving me," and that has always stuck with me, because I think truly that season for me, when I was like not receiving any like type of opportunities, I think that was like the Lord truly preserving me too, because I started to like kind of feel entitled to the things that I was receiving. I started to kind of get like really prideful and like boastful about it. And I do think I kind of needed to take a step back to realize like, girl, like
you doing it.
What are you doing? Like this all means nothing truly if it weren't for like the Lord, honestly. And so I do think it was kind of a sense of preservation too, like for not only my soul, or not only for like my mental health, but for my soul too, like to kind of like stay pure, honestly.
Gotcha. Now, so you worked for Kamala, and then you also worked as a campaign intern for Rochester. What did you see in those spaces around Black women, and just how that dynamic is, how they're treated, recognized, just everything, just being around them and having to see what they deal with on the day-to-day?
Yeah. More specifically with VP Harris, that really put a lot into perspective for me about like Black women in leadership, because you just see, even just like really working more directly with her staff, how like you really have to like command your respect in a lot of spaces, and like just seeing how highly regarded she is like among like her staff as well. It was just a really beautiful thing to witness. But as a Black woman in leadership, something you always hear is like how your competency isn't necessarily always assumed, not with her staff, but just like with external people, but seeing like how external people kind of like treated like her as a Black woman, like in the media, on social media, whatever the case may be. And so it really put a lot into perspective for me that like as a Black woman, no matter your qualifications, no matter your experiences, no matter the degree that you hold, your competency still isn't always assumed. And so serving her like for me as an intern, but then also seeing her staff, it's like you also have to be on 10 because you're representing her. And so it's like, yes, anything that you do still affects her. And so that was kind of like a very strong duty that I felt even as an intern. It was like, well, still like you're still representing her, and anything and everything that you do reflects her in this space. And so that was just like a really like surreal experience for me. And then to just refer to her as her, because you don't, that has never happened for a vice president of the United States before. So that was like just a very surreal moment for me to like be working for not only a woman but a Black woman. So I like felt like a lot of duty in a lot of the space, or a lot of the moments throughout the summer as an intern, and just like a lot of pride as well, just like being able to like serve a Black woman at this capacity. Like that was just something that was so real to me, especially coming from the community that I come from. I never imagined that as reality for myself. And so having the opportunity was like, wow, again, like God, you're gonna blow my mind every time. And so like it always has to come back to God, because it's just like truly like I wouldn't be anywhere. I'm like,
Now I wanna we're going to have a little bit of a political conversation. So I wanted to kind of ask, what are the hidden complexities within especially Black women, having to maneuver these political spaces, right? For example, I know when she became the nominee for when Biden stepped down, there's certain questions I think that get surrounded. I feel like it's Black people in general that try to, especially running for president, but Black women even more specifically. I remember there was a conversation that I was having with someone, and we were talking about her VP, who her VP should be, and I like sat back and I was like, wow, we're sitting here basically saying that she needs to have a white male VP because it can't be too, I guess, wonky to those people, to the conservatives, to people that we want to come, move over to that side. Have you seen things like that firsthand and decisions made like that where it's like, it's not really about the logic, it's about the optics?
In that capacity, no. Like, I didn't necessarily see that, but I know that it happens. Like, I'm confident that it happens. Like, even just like talking to like other friends that are like in the political space, and like we're just like, even thinking of the next person to run for president from the Democratic Party, it's just like, we just like, are they even ready to put up a Black woman again? Like, are we sure that's a safe option? And so it's even just like thinking of what people are thinking of as like the safe options, or if they're even ready to like put up another Black person, let alone another woman. Like, and so I was thinking of those things. So I'm sure that conversations are happening. I didn't necessarily see it firsthand as an intern, but like, I know somewhere they're happening and having those type of conversations for optics, because politics truly is about optics, and it's the most annoying part about politics, because it should be about obviously the people and the lives, but so much of the elected official side of politics is truly about optics. And so I'm sure those conversations are happening.
Okay. Now I want to know, what were the emotions like as a Black woman when Kamala lost, right? Because I know everyone had their own emotions. And I remember one of my friends, shout out Malia, she had put on like her story or something, just basically like, you guys have no idea what we're going through at the end of the day. No matter how y'all feel politically about what's going on and what you guys assume that's going to happen with Trump, no one's feeling it more than us. And instead of trying to tell us how to feel or want us to feel better, just let us feel for a second. What was that feeling like?
The best way to explain it is, I literally yesterday just responded to a message that someone sent me the night that the results were called. Okay. Like, that's how I was feeling. The fact that I'm literally just now getting to messages a month later. Like, I was hurt. I booked a flight to LA the next morning. I was, the next morning of the 6th. So I was out on campus the 5th all night. And at that point, like, we pretty much knew she lost it. I left the morning of the 6th. I was like, I have to get out of here. So I didn't even get to see her speech live. Like, I was literally in tears on the plane. I was hurt. So yeah, that's how I felt. But even more deeply, like, it was just so disappointing. I didn't have words, truly. Like, I was trying to, like, I don't know, maybe it's the student leader instinct in me or the Howard student instinct in me, but you kind of feel a pressure to have something to say or like to put out a statement. But I literally like could not think of anything to say. Like, I was truly speechless. And for me, it was so hurtful because I've worked so hard to like repair my relationship with this country, especially like for my introductions to political engagement. It was always with Black people and Black lives being mistreated or like not being honored. And so honestly, I didn't initially have any true respect for this country or like any true sense of like patriotism or pride in like being a citizen of the United States of America. So I've worked so hard to like repair that relationship and to like trying to build up some sense of patriotism and like pride in like being from the United States. And I think initially, like, with us seeing a Black woman run for president, like, it started to heal that relationship. And then to see that she lost, it was like, dang, America's again. And so it was just so disappointing. And honestly, I felt very hopeless. I felt disappointed. I felt angry. I was sad. I felt every emotion that you can think of. Like, my therapist has like this emotion wheel, and it's like all these different words for like the different types of emotions that you can feel. And it's very specific. And probably felt all of them, honestly.
Okay.
Now looking back, like I felt so many different emotions, and it was just honestly just so disappointing to see that, like, yet again, like, Black women are shown, or it's shown that Black women aren't valued, aren't respected. And like this country still like isn't ready to make its true commitment to like diversity or progression or whatever the case may be, and not in the sense that she's a diversity hire, because running against a convicted felon, like that duality just blows my mind. It makes me angry every time. Like, this is America that a convicted felon can be president of the United States, yet he couldn't even work in the same like White House as a convicted felon. Like maybe he'll change that, I don't know, but like it's like such an interesting duality for me, and it's just like wow. Like that's truly all I have.
Crazy.
I was very upset, and it took me a really long time to like reground myself, because I was upset and I was disappointed and I was frustrated and I was angry and I was every other negative emotion that you can think of.
I think it's unfortunate because kind of like you were saying earlier about them now thinking, you know, is America ready for a Black president, especially a Black woman? It's so unfair because in a way she was, for lack of a better term, set up to lose, or not really set up for success, I believe, right? And it's not her fault that it was only 100 days that she had to campaign and all these different things. And I feel like also on top of that, because it wasn't just we lost, well, I'm saying I'm a Democrat, but we lost the presidency, but to lose everywhere, right? That was like America was saying something that was just more than I don't want a woman being president. They want exactly what is being proposed, right? So I think I don't know where exactly I was going with this, but I do think it's just very unfortunate that she was set up. It was hard. It was going to be extremely difficult, and at the same time, no one's going to give her the excuse, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh, America's not ready for a Black president, or Black woman president." So,
and it's actually so crazy because so many people were saying, like she was too Black, she was too much of the diversity hire, she was HBCU, D9 sorority, and whatever else that represented her Blackness. But then I'm like, throughout the entire campaign, people were questioning her Blackness. So it's like, was she too Black, or were y'all just really like misogynistic and racist and couldn't tolerate to see a Black woman be president of the United States? And so it's just like hearing people still like make those arguments like, no, she was just too Black of a candidate, she was too diverse as a candidate, but then to see how so many people took away from her Blackness or took away from her ethnicity in general. So it's like you can truly like, and it seems like you can just never win, like whether or not she was presented herself to be more Black or try to prove her Blackness more or try to pull back, whatever the case may be. It was like she would have never won in their eyes because at the end of the day, she's a Black woman. And I think politics is moving to this new era where it's less about the policies and it's now becoming more of a popularity contest. And I say that to ask, does that deter you at all from going into that space, knowing that it's now even more so than ever? It's less, I mean, Obama and Mitt Romney, I want to say, is the last debate that actually made political sense, because the next one was Trump and Hillary, right? So does that deter you at all, knowing that it's moving into this now very chaotic, less format type of situation? Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, like I have never really had the best relationship with politics. Like I mentioned, like I was never like patriotic, and recently like I just started to be like even more like proud to be an American or whatever the case may be. So even when I think of, and ironically I'm a political science major, but when I think of the idea of like pursuing a career in politics, like it still doesn't really like bring me peace. Like, cause for me, it's more so about the work. Like it's about actually impacting people and not doing things for optics or doing things so that you can be in an elected position. It's like, no, like I actually just want to do the work. And so I think maybe that piece of it does deter me from like pursuing like an actual career as like a politician or as a lobbyist or whatever the case may be, because I know that like the work matters more to me than the optics. So yeah, I think in some cases that is, but then in other cases it's like, well, like I can also bring back that true genuine nature to politics. So my perspective has just been like, do the work first, and then whatever is supposed to come later will come.
Yeah. Okay. And speaking of the future, what is the next step for you? I saw on one of your interviews that you said you were going to get your master's. Is that still in the cards?
You know, I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
And honestly, like, I've learned to give myself like more grace with like saying I don't know, because truly, like, I've never kind of felt liberated in like saying I don't know, or like felt like that was enough of an answer. But recently, like, I'm just like, I really don't know, because I truly, like, I'm
it's
not even lying,
unscripted.
like, I really don't know. It's unscripted. It's unscripted.
I was waiting for that.
It's honestly unscripted. Like, I really don't know. And so, short answer is I don't know. Longer answer is I am waiting to see what the Lord wants for me to do. I know that in some way, shape, or form, it's going to like include impacting people. I do know that like recently I've been leaning towards going to law school.
Okay.
But if God says otherwise, then whatever. So just kind of staying on my toes and being ready to like pivot when the time comes. But I do know at the root of anything that I'm going to do next is going to be like impact socially. Recently I've been leaning towards like low income cities. So kind of like revitalizing low income cities and community development. Just going back to like my passion with, my own city and seeing how my city is growing, and kind of wanting to be a part of that in not only my city, but then other cities as well. Okay. So that's like general, but honestly, like, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Find your Thrive City at some point,
I
right?
mean, like,
yeah, you gotta find your Thrive
honestly,
City.
that's what's next. Finding my Thrive City.
Okay, all right.
Finding my Thrive City.
Have you narrowed the list down from the last time we talked?
Yeah, I have. So, I've narrowed it down to like 5 cities. Okay. So it's either DC, LA, Chicago, Phoenix. Okay. And then, it's only 4 cities. It's only them 4.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Phoenix is a little bit of a curveball.
It's a curveball. It is. And it's very random. Okay. But it's going to be them 4. Okay. One of the 4. Okay. Don't know which one yet.
Why LA?
I have family there, and I just really like LA. Like, I love LA. I don't know. Because initially I didn't like California because I interned in Palo Alto. And I was like, actually, I hate California. Like, I don't want to be in California. I still to this day don't like the Bay Area. But because of it, I was like, I don't really like California. But ever since my family moved to LA, I visit and I just love it. Like, it's sunny. It seems like everyone is happy there. There's always something to do. Okay. It's just like, I don't know. It's just like my Thrive City.
La La Land.
La La Land. Yeah. Like, I don't think I could live there for a long time because it doesn't feel real all the time. But I don't know. It just feels like you're just literally like floating in a lily field with Cleo Soul playing in the background. Okay. That's how I describe when I feel. That's
a vibe.
Like, I don't know.
That is a vibe.
Honestly, it's just like you have like a long. Well, I would have. I don't know if you would have on a long sundress, but like
I don't think so.
I would have a
I'm
long
not against
sundress.
it, but I don't think good.
I would. That's not my style. This is not my style.
Like, I would literally have on like when I'm in LA. This is how I feel. Yeah. I have on a long sundress, and like a sunflower lily field, Cleo Soul. And I'm going to say Promises by Cleo Soul. Okay. And Life Will Be. Okay. Are playing full blast. And I'm just like dancing. And the sun is set, kind of like how it is right now. Okay. That's how I feel when I'm in LA.
This is a vibe.
It's a vibe. So imagine that.
Yeah. For sure.
That's how I feel when I'm in LA.
Okay. I need to go out to LA. I'm going to have to.
You've never been? Wow.
Furthest I've been, or closest I've been to there is Vegas.
Wow.
But I've never been to LA, so
I think you should go to LA.
I'm gonna make that.
I think you should go, and then just let me know. Like,
okay, I will. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Let me know. I love LA, but to be in LA, you also just have to be making money. Like,
that's what I know. I'm not going to LA. I have to have money to go to LA.
Yeah. Okay. So, I won't be in LA until I'm making like big money.
Okay. Now, what's up?
What number is it supposed to be on the?
I don't know. It just is on a random number. Why?
It doesn't matter the number?
I mean, if you turn it on and you look up at that top one, if it has 3 bars instead of 2, that means it's connected to that. Why?
You said 3 bars instead of, what do you mean?
If you look up at the one that's connected to the main camera. Like, look at it. Like, get up and look.
I see it. There's no bars though.
No, you can't see. Not the screen of the camera. The mic thing on the top. He's still in progress, you know.
Yeah.
It's forever. We're working on it. Yeah, we're getting him there.
I'm an engineer, not a film major.
No, it's great. You're doing great.
I'm messing with you, but
All right.
what is it? We're good. Okay. I wanted to give you this moment to look into the camera.
Okay.
This camera right here. Yeah. And I want you to tell if this was your, let's say your 8-year-old self, right? What would you say to your 8-year-old self about just what is to come, and just give some advice?
You're trying to make me cry.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Okay. Hopefully I don't cry. Okay. I gotta think about it.
Make sure the mic is like right next to you, because
I
need everyone to feel this.
I got you.
Because I'm a cry.
Okay. I'm not gonna cry. I'm a G.
Are you?
I'm a G, I think. Okay. Is this good?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
I would say little Tariah, and it's actually really funny because side note, there's a picture of me and I'm about like 8 years old, and it's like I look so shy, like I'm literally like just hiding behind somebody in the picture, and I just look so shy. And so when I look at the picture, like, it's a beautiful reminder of like how far I've come, but then how much further I have to go. Yeah. So I'm like envisioning that little girl.
That picture, right now. You're looking at that picture.
So they can see it.
You can see it.
They can see the picture.
Okay, they can see it. Yeah. So little Tariah, I would say, you are worthy, you are important, and your voice has power. And don't let anyone or anything make you think any less of that. Know that like it will all work out. The Lord is going to take you on a beautiful journey, and life is going to get hard, but you'll stand up and you won't break. And I'm really proud of you for not breaking. And I just really can't wait to see how much further you go, and know that you'll be so proud of the woman that you have become. You have received so many opportunities that you would have never expected. And you aren't the shy little girl that you always were. You still shy a little bit, but not as much. And you're just gonna be so surprised to see how great you become and how beautiful you continue to grow into. So know and never forget that there's so much power in you. There's so much power in your voice. And don't shrink for anyone. Don't put a lampshade over your light, because it is so bright. So let it continue to shine. Don't dim your light for anyone, and don't let anyone flip the light switch on your light. That was a corny joke, but yeah, don't. And stay true to who you are, and be open to discovering who you are, and don't lose sight of your smile, because it's a beautiful one. Love you, girl.
I mean, there's nothing else left to say. I wanna say that your story is truly inspirational. Mm-hmm. Everything you have accomplished, you're one of those people that is the reason why I love that I came here, because it's people like you that inspire people like me to want to do more. As someone that wasn't as, was more fortunate in terms of just the environment I grew up in, things like that, and having the two parents and being coddled a little bit. I feel like sometimes someone like me can not feel like you need to do as much because so much has been given to you, right? Whereas someone that doesn't have as much feels the need to want it all, to shoot for the stars. And it wasn't until coming here that it's really shaped me to have the big dreams and goals that I have. And so I thank you for being one of those people. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. I knew I wanted you on here. And again, I'm just so happy that you were able to make some time to come out here and to just be that star that I can look up to when I'm like down here on U Street, just trying to
on your way to El Rey.
Just trying to make it to America's Best, you know?
On the way to El Rey.
Yeah, on the way to. Well, I'm going to America's Best because the line was too long in El Rey, so I had to. Yeah,
so it's like detour.
Exactly.
Detour. Yeah. So. Fun fact: I didn't go to El Rey until this year.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, fun fact.
Well, you like it? Is it everything that everyone talks about?
Tight.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It's a great time.
Easy. Great time.
Well,
I think there's a lot of people's first, like, I think this year it's like very packed. I don't like,
Yeah.
I went for like the first time like last year when I turned 21,
Okay.
but like,
It's
And
lit.
now it's a lot of underclassmen. So
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, y'all not
Yeah.
slick, y'all
like,
little
if you
ones.
look up homebody in the dictionary, you're probably gonna see
See you.
Tariah like,
Okay.
in the synonym.
Okay.
That's not a bad thing.
Not at all.
No, honestly, like I don't have shame in it. Like,
Okay.
I love
Homebody
I wish
make
I
a
was
lot of
more of
money.
a homebody.
I love the crib.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna lie, like on a serious note though, like sometimes it's like, dang, like you need to get out the house more. Like life is short.
Yeah.
I feel
Life
like,
is short.
what's your definition? Like, how homebody are you?
I'm very homebody. Like, what's an example? Like, I don't know.
Like, okay, how often? Okay, when it hurt. Okay, so I'm assuming during the week, studying, whatever, getting money, get to the bag, right? Weekends. What's your weekends like? Besides Sunday, we know that's the Lord's day. So really Saturday and Friday. We count Friday as the weekend.
It's the Lord's Day and then brunch after. I think that's how people do it these days.
Yeah, it's like
Lord's
depends
brunch.
on the depends. I only do brunch.
Depending on who you're asking.
I
it's
don't
just
really do
brunch, so-
I don't do brunch, but like for
It's
me,
the
like
Lord's Day for us.
definitely go to like 11 o'clock service. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
besides that, like Friday, Saturday, that's event. Let's see how homebody you are.
It really depends. But like, you won't see me at the club.
Oh.
But like some weekends, like I'm literally just in the crib, like in the crib. That's it. But then some weekends, like I'll go over a friend's house or I'll go to an event or something. But like
That's
for the most
homebody.
part, I'm in the house.
Yeah, because you're
Even
still
during the week.
like even. Yeah, I was like, you continue.
No, I was gonna say like even during the week, if I don't have anything to do, I'm not leaving my house. Like, for example, all week this week,
You were in the house.
like I literally had to like go outside and get sunlight. Partly because like it was a situation where I had a gas leak in my house, so I like literally had to go outside so that I could survive. But like also like to get sunlight.
Yeah.
So, but for the most, I literally have just been in the house.
Okay.
Oh no, so you homebody.
No,
You say
like,
like
all the
you like
homebodies
literally
out there.
don't leave the house.
I don't, and it's like I truly enjoy like being in the house. But recently, I've had an epiphany moment where it's like I need to start living every day like it's my last because
Nice.
yeah.
That saying is
I like
like,
that, man.
I love that saying until I don't, because then when I really put myself in the mindset of this is my last day, I'd probably do some really obnoxious.
Crazy, yeah.
See, like everything's good in moderation, though. Like that's a
you
great
know, it's the
mindset.
last
You just
day.
gotta like also realize, like I kind of like try to have that mindset, but also say like I want to have kids. Let's set an example. Let's have something. Let's leave something for
Let's
them.
not do too much.
And like,
You know what I do on my last day? I'm like, if I do lose my last day, I'm going to like, DC's gonna get terrorized for all
but
day.
still, yeah,
I
like
don't know.
take advantage.
I always say like I don't know if this is something we should keep in the recording, but like
Wait, if you're gonna
If I
say it, wait until I.
Okay.
We're almost like we're
'cause
basically
we're not
done
done.
anyway.
Okay.
No, but
because like it's just a rule. Once we cut everything on, we can't
see.
edit anything. We
Oh, so
can't
this is
take
all
out
raw.
anything. Yeah,
No,
like
yeah.
this part right here, like we've been done.
Unless you like
We're just
sneeze
talking
or
right
something,
now.
we might cut
This is
that
just like
out.
extras.
but, yeah.
Huh?
oh
Yeah.
You didn't know that. Oh, you didn't know that.
no.
Well, I
It's
mean,
a safe
we'll
space,
cut it
though.
off. Well, I mean,
No, it's
you
okay.
want to wave real quick and then.
Wait. Also, like we're not gonna like chop any of this up.
Oh no! Oh, you thought like things in the interview get chopped up? Oh no! It's like everything.
This is raw.
Yeah,
Unscripted.
like say exactly. That's
Wow.
exactly what it is. Now, like say like you coughed or you like sniffled, I would like move the camera to me so it doesn't see you because I would never do you like that. But other than that, yeah, this is all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I just felt like that's.
It's just
what
more
would
personal
make-
that way.
That would fit our brand. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's
It'd
like,
make
it's
it.
unscripted.
Yeah.
This
so.
is it.
this is it.
I'm so glad I didn't say what I was gonna say. But
How bad was it
I
gonna
want to know what she was gonna say, so we're gonna.
Oh wait.
How
wait.
bad was it gonna be?
It's not bad. It's just I wouldn't want it to be on camera. I
No,
mean,
for
listen.
sure. No,
No, it's not bad. Wait.
Oh,
I'm
you
not
wanna
gonna
do
think
it
it's bad.
now?
No, I don't want to do it.
Oh, okay.
But like, don't think it's like crazy, y'all. It's not crazy.
Oh no, it's not crazy.
You just making it seem crazy. That's all we like.
Right, I know.
Like
It's
you're not
crazy.
stopping. Like we can cut it off right now. Like I'm not like cutting it off because early or anything. Like we're done. I kind of want to hear what you have to say. So
Okay. Well. do I-
y'all aren't privy to this information. So
Unfortunately, well, this has been great. Thank you guys for listening. I hope.
You're not gonna close this. Can you sit down?
I
Like,
hope you are leaving feeling inspired.
It's her podcast.
Oh, for sure. It is.
This is okay. I hope you're leaving feeling inspired and empowered and encouraged. Period. Unscripted. Hashtag. Hashtag unscripted.
Boom. This was so great. And if you're young, 20, 21, 19, bro, it's like, it's the worst that could happen. Seriously. That's how I think of it. Just go big or go home.
Can you be mine? You need someone like me in your life. And I've been thinking about time, so we can make some plans tonight.